Okay, I don't know if I told you this, but after I'm done with this whole thing, I'm trying to compile a video that's, there's a lot of PCT videos out there, but this one's going to actually be more about friendship, and I'm going to try to weave all of that together somehow with the different people that have joined me on the trail. And so you're the second victim, Ash was the first. So we're just gonna come up with 3 random questions each about our friendship. The way Ash and I did it was, if you want to just use the same one that I used, you can do that. You can come up with your own, and then we'll just go back and forth. But we're talking like brief, pretty brief here.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So the first one I got for you is, when did you first think, okay, this guy's probably going to be a friend of mine?
I would say, I don't know. It was pretty quick, because just when we got a chance to meet everybody on the floor.
Yeah.
You were the athlete. I considered myself an athlete. It just seemed like, okay, you were going to be somebody that I could relate to on athletics. We both really loved. I was a big fan of football. You were a big player of football and a big fan of football. So there was that was going on. I think the first time we really, at least my memory is the first time that we ever really spent together, having like a one-on-one conversation. We went out to buy beer for the floor. And I'm not sure if we walked or took a bus or something like that. but it stuck us together for like.
That's right. We had to take the bus.
We had to take the bus. You remember it?
I totally do. This would be the exact same answer I would give.
Okay, so yeah, so we
yes.
That's the first time we really were one-on-one together.
Right.
Right.
Right. Yep.
And
we had to ride that bus out past
At least
U-Haul
I
area.
wasn't a big beer drinker yet, but
right.
I was going to become one.
Okay, that's good. That's exactly the answer I would have given. So that therefore, you just flipping that question back to me went off the table.
So I can't ask you that question.
It's just going to be the same answer.
Okay. All right. No, but okay. So I'll expand on that a little bit then more, because that was a good conversation. It was like a honest. There was a lot of brutally honest stuff that you came up with from your life that it was nice to hear you share that right off the bat. You talked about your parents, I think. I know you talked about your friends in high school and your love for football and all of that sort of thing, but it's probably the first time I just knew you were genuine.
Right, okay. I remember us too talking about our girls back home syndrome, kind of both of us still haven't quite let go of that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yet. And yeah, it was a good time. I remember an exact same thing, thinking, okay, this dude's gonna be one of my friends here. I just know it.
All right, that's cool.
All right.
Mine, I thought of one question.
Okay.
Which do you love more? Stereo equipment or photography?
That's a great question.
Maybe another way to put it was, if you had to jettison one, you had no choice. You had to jettison one.
Yep.
But you could still hang on to everything you have. You just wouldn't continue growing with it. Does that make sense?
Oh, I could keep where I am in steady state.
You could keep where you are, steady state. But
wow, okay.
But wherever you wouldn't be allowed. If you said,
All right.
stereo equipment.
Yeah,
I said, okay, you're never allowed to buy another camera.
Okay, that's pretty. All right, that's much easier. I thought you were saying totally purge one or the other. So that would be. I don't know what I would do with that, but I would freeze the camera equipment because I feel like, although I probably will buy more camera equipment, especially if we go to Africa. There's a lot this stuff can do that I haven't even done with it yet. And whereas the stereo stuff I am listening to every single day for hours per day. So there's just more usage. Although a lot of times it's concurrent use. But that's a good one. I like that. All right. I got one for you. You touched on one thing, athleticism. What are other? This is cheating a little bit because it was a question that Ash asked me. I think. What attributes do you think brought us together as friends, and maybe even more importantly, have allowed our friendship to last all these years, even though we had a kind of a lull in there where we were both super busy with our family lives. When we came back to it, it was just like
Never changed.
nothing changed. Yeah. So what are the personal attributes that you would say were important to our long-lasting friendship?
Well, I would say humor is way up there.
Okay.
And probably it's just stuff we think is funny, but no one else thinks it's funny. But that doesn't really matter.
Right.
So humor is up there.
Yep.
We laugh a lot together.
Yep.
I would say, brutal honesty and trust.
Yeah.
Was always there. I wouldn't say that we came to each other. I would say very rarely did we come to each other for advice, deep advice, but when we did, we got great advice.
Yep.
Back and forth with each other.
True.
But I would say that for the most part, we were pretty well grounded and could come up with, could figure out our own issues
Yep.
on our own whenever
Yep.
we needed it. I don't know, just, there's just certain people, you can always,
Yeah.
I don't know, you can always count on, know that it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Not have to worry about any judgment.
Yep.
Yeah, that kind of thing. I guess.
Yeah. No, I would more broadly characterize it as like I see you as a person of very high integrity.
Same to you.
And I appreciate that about you a lot. Yes, the humor is almost first and foremost. And then the other thing that I really admire about your character is you're a very hard worker. And I think that, we've both known a lot of talented people, but eventually you run out of what you can do with raw talent if you're not applying it. And I from the time that you got behind in school because of your injury, and then when you decided to change to engineering and all the catch-up you had to do there, you just went to it. That's all. That's not everybody gets that, but you do.
Yep.
And man, I really admire that about you.
Well, and for you, if you're just to add to it, you really opened up your family to me.
Yeah.
Which I did not reciprocate to you. You got to know Anne, but you haven't gotten a chance to meet my kids. You got to meet my mom, but not very much. And my brother, I guess you knew my brother pretty well since he went to school with us.
Yeah.
But
I wish you
had gotten to know my kids a lot. That's something that would have been good to have there. But I adore your family, Harry. I think your mom and dad were fabulous, and I thought Ashley was great too.
Yeah.
And we spent time with I got to know all of your uncles.
Yep.
I got to know both of your grandmothers. I thought that was just all cool. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
That we got a chance to see that.
Yeah, and it was just, I think, circumstantial that you got to know my family more just because of...
Because we come out to visit here
We
instead
would-
of visiting Ohio.
Well, but also even younger, you know, we would be like on the way to spring break or whatever,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
But I did get to meet Uncle Hobie and those
Yep, that's right.
folks.
You got to meet my
And
grandfather.
your grandparents,
Yep.
which was great.
Yep.
So, yeah.
By the way, but the other thing we share a lot is a love for food.
That is...
Quantity and quality.
That is so true. That is so true. That is so true. All right, my last question for you is just top of mind, what is the best laugh we've ever had together?
Oh boy. Best laugh we've ever had together. I don't know.
All right, I'm gonna give you one that is top of mind for me.
Okay.
And it was the third year when we lived in JPA, and John, can't remember if Steve came. John came for sure and spent Easters with us.
Yeah.
And you guys were toasting toast in that toaster oven. And it was like buttered up and it was like dripping.
Yeah.
And
Catch on
either
fire.
you or John said, wouldn't it be hilarious if this thing just burst into flames? And like right at that second, it burst into flames. And we were laughing so hard.
Yeah.
And poor Peter Ritchie came out. I think it was his toaster oven. He was like panicked.
Oh God.
And we were just absolutely gone, laughing so hard over just saying that, and the instant it came out of our mouths, it happened. Oh shit.
I don't know if I have a... I think you were there. You probably think this is way funnier than I was. But you were there for my biggest disappointment in life, and that was when Abacab came out.
I did not
Genesis.
think that was funny.
But the look on my face must have lasted forever whenever that happened. You laughed. I think one of the things, Mark, I don't know, one just hit me.
Yeah.
And I don't remember, I wouldn't know if this, I don't know if this is the most funny, but there was one time, you know, remember when we used to, you know, make tapes?
Yeah. Oh
to each
yeah.
other
Yeah.
and you know, say
Right. Insults and then
Insults
leave
like
the tape
crazy.
recorder with the other person.
yeah, and then it would just go on and on.
Yeah.
But the one time you made a tape and your voice came on it, and I was going, how is your voice on this tape? You were the first one to do that. I said, how did you get your voice on the tape? Because we didn't have any microphones or anything like that. And you told me that you, you used the headphones. Remember?
I totally do.
And I said, and I was freaking out at that thing. But those tapes were absolutely hilarious after a while.
Actually, what happened that time, so we had your cassette, little tabletop cassette player is what we used for that, right? And it was like
It wasn't the stereo?
No. It started
Okay.
off, we just would trade that thing back and forth.
That's right.
And then
That's right.
And then you were done with it for the day and like needed to buckle down or whatever, and I'm like, oh, he thinks he's done, but he's not. And that's when I went downstairs and used the cassette deck in the living room
Yeah, you
with
just
the
disappeared.
headphones.
You disappeared to go make a tape full of insults that you couldn't say to my face right at the time. That was so funny.
Oh shit.
Those were good. And then the letters we'd write back and forth.
Oh God.
Those would be full of good humor.
Yes.
Since we didn't have email or texting or anything like that at the time.
That was great stuff, man. All right, well, listen, man. Thanks for indulging me on this.
Hey, I have one more
Appreciate it.
question for
What's
you,
that?
since I still haven't asked you any
Yeah.
questions. Are you going to do another hike after PCT?
Yeah, but not a major through hike. Like, first of all, I want Jackie to pick some endeavor she'd like to do and try to support her, because been amazing supporting me with this.
Mm-hmm.
And but a lot of times she likes me to just come up with ideas. So I can see us going back to Patagonia. I can see us maybe doing that Camino de Santiago, maybe the Alps. I don't know, but I think it's going to be more like highlight kind of hikes instead of hike the whole thing. And I mean, this section you and I have done has been really good for the most part.
Oh, it's been fantastic.
It's not all like that. Like, so much of it is grinding, and when you start to realize your time is at such a premium, it's like, you know what, this one's going to be enough. I'm going to do some more greatest hits.
Well, I appreciate it. I think it's been a lot of fun to be on this. Thanks for slowing down for me and everything else. But
no, you were awesome.
It's been great.
Yeah.
We got one more day. We still have to finish.
That's right. That's it. We'll make it out of here.
All right, I have one more question.
Okay.
What's the best decision you ever made?
Easy. Committing myself to getting married to Jackie.
Yeah, my thing here. Mary and Ann.
Yeah. And
right.
I will say, if this thing ever does get out there, people are going to get bored, because that was the same answer Ash gave. Both of us feel like our wives elevated us to a complete different plateau that we wouldn't have reached otherwise. And so props to the wives.
Props to the wives.
Yes,
that's for sure. Yep.
All right, man. Thank you.
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you,
Thanks
buddy.
for having us.
Yeah, man.